The chess world is shook after Magnus Carlsen is not in the top 30 of the FIDE World Rapid Championships. Winning this tournament last year, he is at a mere 2.5 out of 5, losing games, drawing games against 2500s, and unexpectedly, he did also lose this game against the rising star Denis Lazovic. So let's get right into it. So Denis opens the game with d4, and Magnus responds with d5. So the format of this is 15 plus 10, c4, c6, pawn takes. So this is all symmetric. And now bishop to f4. So this is a London, knight to c6, and now the move e3. So again, just you can't go knight to b5 because simply king to a5 check would occur. So that's why e3 is played, a6, now stopping that, and now rook to c1. Bishop to f5, and now knight to f3. So here, Denis has very clear plans. He wants to put the bishop on e2 or potentially d3 and castle his king and start some sort of attack on the queen side. e6, queen to b3, rook to a7, and now bishop to e2. Bishop to e7 is played. Again, here Magnus has to desperately defend this pawn. He did not play rook to b8 because the bishop is here and it's sniping. Instead, he plays it like this. Knight to a4. g5 is played from Magnus. He has to do something here. Bishop to e5. And again, here, if we take a brief look at the time, Magnus is playing extremely fast. While he has only spent around a minute and a half, while Denis has spent 4 minutes. So castles is played, bishop to g3 now. So the main idea of this was to actually force Magnus to castle. Because if you play f6, that's it's very awkward, I would say, because it weakens up your pawn structure, it softens it up. So this essentially, and rook to g8 is just a terrible move, because now your king is stuck. This forces castling. So now Magnus's attack is slowed down a little bit. h3 is played, now g4, and after the trade and knight to h2, Denis is trying to win this pawn, and the only way to defend it is to obviously bring the knight, and Magnus does. Now queen to d1, Denis is tunnel visioned on winning this g4 pawn, because he knows it is crucial for him to win the game. Also, like, the nerves of this, and he's like, if he sees, like, the one way he can find the advantage, he will. Knight to e4 is played. And also, just a quick thing to note, Denis had 2.5 out of 4 going into this round, and so did Magnus. Yeah, Magnus also had 2.5 out of 4. So, it's very interesting to see, like, a 2500 and a 2800 having the same points after 4 rounds is very uncommon. And again, Magnus is not on the leaderboard whatsoever in this tournament. Bishop takes, d4, bishop takes, and now pawn takes. So here, Denis does win the pawn, but it's at the small cost of ruining his pawn structure. King to g7 is played, and this is a mistake. And Denis pounces. Bishop takes f5 is played, pawn takes f5, and now this very nice move g3. So basically, what Denis is trying to do, he wants to rebound his knight, he wants to bring up his king, and potentially attack down the h file. Magnus tries to catch him there, and he does exactly this. Magnus has to do something, right? He's down a pawn. So, both of them are getting low on time, around 5 minutes. Queen to e3 is played, rook to h8, and now, like, the rook is hanging. So, the trade happens, and now knight to h4, simply blockading the queen. Knight to f6, and now rook to h1. King to f8 is played, and now after the move, queen to d3, Denis is going on to win the game. Mr. Lazovic has successfully gotten Magnus into some trouble here. Knight to e7 is played, and here, Denis has to find the very crucial move, knight to g6. Check. Which is a brilliancy, because obviously, if you take... Okay, now you just lose your rook. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. And if you take with the knight or the pawn, it doesn't really matter. Of course, you would lose your queen. So this is basically a rook and a knight for a queen. Of course, the pawn takes, the rook takes, and now the pawn takes. So here, I think Magnus probably overlooked this amazing sacrifice. It is, I believe... No, he's still winning without it, but it's not even close as much as it would be. So here, after the tree, this is just conversion technique. I do like to see how well these players can convert. And this is Magnus Carlsen, so anything can happen. Okay, Denis is down to 3 minutes. He's desperately trying, and here he trades off the pieces. And now this is very easy. after the move queen to b5, Magnus Carlsen does resign the game, because if you move this knight, you will lose the pawn, and if you try to move this rook, this pawn is just going to push up the board no matter what you do. So this is how Denis Lazovic destroys Magnus. Magnus did go down 18.2 points in this tournament. Like, currently, after the first 5 rounds, he's down 18 points, and this is just tragic to see. I do have another game for you guys. Yeah, hello guys, this is the second game, this is the third game of the FIDE World Rapid Championships. Again, this is Gleb Dudin versus Magnus Carlsen, of course, playing with the black pieces, and now he has 2 out of 3, and he is playing his opponent. D4 is played, and now knight to f6 and c4. Again, it's very similar to what happened in the last game, except this time instead of playing bishop to f4, bishop to g5 is played, and the e pawn is traded, not the c pawn. Bishop to e7, e3, h6, bishop to h4. And here, basically, black is playing to put the knight on this e4 square, while white trying to put the bishop on d3, the knight on e2 or f3. E2 is preferred so that you can push f3 and kick the knight out. And this is exactly what happens after a few moves. They reroute. Magnus takes Gleb's bishop. And now after the bishop to f5 is played, bishop takes and queen takes is played. So here, Magnus, just like to give you guys an overall view, Magnus drew the first game, he won the second game, and then he drew the third game. He drew the first game, and then he won the second game. And after this game, and then Gleb won his first 2 games. So that is why Magnus is playing a 2400. Gleb is the lowest person, with 2 out of 3. And Magnus is the highest with 1.5 out of 3. So those two got paired like that. So the trade happens, and Gleb is coming out of this opening all right. And he's holding the draw currently. But he does get a very nice advantage in a few moves. First, Magnus pokes and prods, does Magnus-y things. And after this happens, Gleb is down to 2 minutes. Magnus still has 7 minutes. Again, that's like a common theme in all this. Magnus is the faster player, but sometimes he just can't deliver on the board. Again, this pawn is hanging. Just small thing to note. If the pawn would have been taken, rook to a1 can be played, and simply after like bishop to d6, rook takes a7 is also very, very nice. So here, that's why rook to b8 is played, and now after the move rook to b1, a6 is played. Because again, if this would have been played, okay, here I guess and then knight to b5 is there. So that's why a6 is played to block off knight to b5. a6 is played, and now knight to c6, putting some pressure. Rook takes, and now king to f5. So here again, it's the same thing. You can't really take because of this. And it's very difficult for Magnus to find something to do. So he does play here, threatening to take the e3 pawn. Knight to e5 is played, simply blocking this. And now after the move rook to b8, knight takes f7, and bishop to c7. Gleb does have a small advantage, and again, just a small thing. You cannot actually take the rook because it would check. Just the pawn is given up. Rook takes, and now here after the move knight to g5, if we just take a small look at the position, Gleb is up a pawn, but he has 40 seconds. And here he does something incredible. Well, here for a split second he was just completely winning. But again, with 41 seconds, you can't win this. Because the move is knight takes d5. With the idea, black recaptures, e4 check is a very nice fork, and you are gonna win the knight. Yeah, you're just gonna win the knight. Right. So that's why I don't know. With 40 seconds, you can't really expect him to find this blow. So a4 is played, and Gleb was so close to winning, so close against the world champion himself. Knight to e6. Now after the following trades, a5. Gleb is winning. Gleb is winning. He plays a5. He blows it. But yeah, that's okay. So king to b2. He's still winning. And here for a split second, if I found Magnus wants to draw. Right? e4, and here, the only move that wins, knight to e2. The only move that wins, knight to c3. Here, the only move that wins, king takes c4. And here, the only move that wins, is not e5. The move is king to d4. Simply because you want to try to win this pawn, and as you guys can see, e4, and of course you don't want to allow knight to e4. So you guys will see what I mean in a second. Knight to e4 is played, knight to d1, and now after this happens, Magnus is still down a pawn, but he converts. And of course, if any of you guys are wondering, there's a reason why Magnus obviously did not promote, because after this, his knight would have simply been trapped, and he would go on to lose. So that's why instead, he just goes back and forth. And here, Magnus passes 2 pawns, and it's a draw. Yeah, so, okay, this is clearly a very bad tournament for Mr. Carlsen here. Just a snippet of all the ratings, the ratings of each game. So in his first game, Magnus drew Wander Liang, a 25-19, and he lost 3.7 points for that. Then he beat Dennis, he beat another Dennis, not Dennis Lazovic. He beat Dennis Kudrik, and then he got 1 point for that. Then he drew Gleb. This is the 3rd round. He lost 4 for that. He drew Alexander Shimov, and he lost 3 for that. And then he lost to Dennis Lazovic, which is 8.4 points. So Magnus, after the first 5 rounds, is down and shocking 18 points. And guys, I have one last game for you, and this is against your favorite player, Alireza Firouzja. Hello everyone, this is the 2nd round of the FIDE World Rapid. This is Alireza Firouzja versus, his name doesn't even fit on the screen. Sorry. I don't know. Ronak is just what I'm going to call him. I can't read the last name, but that's okay. Knight to f3, d5, b3. Again, this is the World Rapid 15-minute time format. You guys know how it works. g3, bishop to g2. Alireza playing the 2 bishop setup, 2 PM shadows, and immediately Ronak storms him on the queen side with this a-pawn push. And now after the move c5, he is this much better, right? And it's because of Alireza's dubious opening. And after all these trades happen, Alireza does actually emerge with an advantage. Because after a move like, let's say for example, yeah, like, let's say rook to e8, right? Here, simply, Alireza's intentions are to just play f4 and to storm on the king side. So that's why queen to c7 is played. And again now, just like the re-maneuvering to the king side happens. Like the queen comes in, the bishop to e4 is played. So here, it would have been better to play h4 or potentially, I guess bishop to d2 is also a viable option. But bishop to e4 is played, which blunders the game to this very nice move, h5. Sorry, excuse me, no, not h5. h5 does not win. That is the move that was played in the game. Sorry, yeah, no. So the move that wins is bishop takes d6, and after pawn takes, you can simply play. Yeah, you can bring your knight back. Excuse me, no, you just take the pawn. And here after the following trades, I'm so sorry about that, guys. After the following trades, Black has so much activity and will go on to win this game. At least that's what the computer says. I'm not really sure. That's like what the computer told me. So, yeah. Also, if you guys are enjoying the video, please hit the subscribe button. Like, over like 97% of you guys are not subscribed. So, yeah. Anyway, h5 is played. After the move, queen to h3 is played, and bishop takes d6. Bishop takes g6 is played. And this is the only idea after queen takes d6 that actually gives Alireza an equal position. Alireza is fighting for equality in this game. He is not pressing. Rook takes d6 is played, which is a shocking move. I just want to say that. Because, of course, the whole point of this is you don't really want to take on f2 just yet, because your queen is pinned. You can't, excuse me. So rook takes d6 is kind of like, okay, if you were to take here, I believe Alireza's opponent would have just forced a draw, and he would have been very happy, but shockingly, he got something even better in this game. No spoilers. Yeah, rook takes d6, queen takes f7, king takes, and here for a brief moment, again, his opponent is down to, Alireza is down to 30 seconds, while Ronak still has, over 6 minutes, basically 7 minutes here, rook to e8, rook to e1, and after the trade and b6, Ronak is very solid, he does have a small advantage, and the main point of this is, there's no way for Alireza to crash through, he can't check and go here, because the knight blocks. he can't move his rook anywhere, and it's very passive, right? So rook to e1, rook to e6, and after the trade of rooks, here Ranuk starts the conversion process. King to d2, king to d7, bishop to f4. Here again, I mean, you could have just taken, man, and like this would have been the easiest way to convert. But it's okay. I mean, Ranuk much better than me. I mean, of course, after this game, you guys will see why he is 2600. So knight to c3 played, and after the following moves, after the following moves, Ranuk simply wins the game because Alireza resigns. I mean, not a lot happened in this game. It was just like, he just got outplayed. Alireza, I'm not really sure what happened to him. He usually is the one who's pressing. But, I mean, I guess today, this tournament is not for 2700s. And I'll show you guys why. So, if I just, like, read through the standings here real quick. By the way, nice job to Daniel Naroditsky for being tied for first place. So, in first place, there's a 25-88. And, like, there's a 28-40 in this tournament, and we have a 25-88 leading. Which, okay, and then in number 3rd, Domingo, okay, four guys are tied. Volodar, Shant, Domingo, Linia Dominguez Perez, Daniel Naroditsky, and then you have Anish Giri tied for 2nd place with a bunch of other people. And in 30th, we have Alireza Firouzja. And in 23rd, we have Fabiano Caruana. So I just think that's just incredible that no top dudes are actually in the top 30. In the top 10. I guess you could count. I mean, Anish Giri and Sam Sevian, they are. Levin Aryan, they are very good, but I mean, they're not in the top. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and if you guys like more, please do comment down below and hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Bye.